What's up, everybody, and welcome back. We got a lot to talk about today. There's a lot going on in the Xbox world, and what I'm hoping to do with this video is to help you better understand all the code names that Microsoft is using for their next generation hardware, and some of the stuff coming this year that is technically still current gen, and put it all into a nice picture for you so that it's easier to understand and follow along with everything that's being reported here. Some of this you might have heard before, but I guarantee you some of the stuff you absolutely have not. And so with that, I put together an awesome graphic, if you will, using Microsoft Paint that is going to help us break out the structure of everything that is going on. So let's just dive in here, shall we? And to kick things off, so we have Xbox at the top. No big surprise here. This is just the overarching org of Xbox. And so what we have here is on the left, we have a red umbrella that is for Scarlett. Now, Scarlett is just a family of devices. It's not actually a product in itself. So think of, at the high level, it's Scarlett. And underneath Scarlett, there's the other products. But when Microsoft says Scarlett, they're talking about a whole wide swath of different hardware and services. And then on the other side, we have the Xbox, the current generation stuff that we know today, but there is still some new stuff going on there. And as I talked about previously, the diskless version of the Xbox One S is codenamed Maverick. And so the Maverick console, I believe, is still on track to ship in the spring. Other people are hearing it might ship a little earlier, but I've heard in the spring, Microsoft is going to ship a diskless version of the Xbox One S, and it's called Maverick. That is just the name that they're using. Now, Maverick is also going to ship with a thing called Roma, and Roma is the digital attached service that I've talked a little bit about previously. Let's just say you go to xbox.com and you buy your Maverick console and you get your Game Pass and you get your Xbox Live Gold. You prepay it up front for, let's say, 12 or 24 months or whatever, and then when that console arrives, it's all set up for you. It's going to reduce that onboarding experience significantly. And so that is just one way Microsoft is making it easier to get up and running when you get your new console, and that way you don't have to enter a whole bunch of 16-digit codes and all that junk. And so down below that we have Anthem, and Anthem is the codename for Microsoft's cloud service. We know it as Project X Cloud, but again, Project X Cloud is kind of like Scarlett, right? It is the overarching, it's the large, ambitious project, but inside of that there's other codenames, and Anthem is what Microsoft is using for their X Cloud representing the current generation Xbox One S. There is already Anthem V2, which is going to be based on the Xbox One S version that's going to come out, I believe, around the holiday season, that is purely focused on cost reduction. And what they're going to do is just hack out some components. It's just manufacturing efficiency at this point. And so they will have a cheaper version of the Xbox One S for them to build. I don't know if they will lower the price on the Xbox One S, but they're going to reduce the cost to build the device, and then that will be upgraded into their xCloud. And then so on the other side, we have, this is very weird, I believe it's Danta is the name of the Anaconda, which we'll talk about here in a second, dev kit. So this is the Scarlett dev kit is called Danta, and it's the Anaconda, but shipping to developers, and it's that funky little creature. I don't know why they didn't go with something more masculine. I'm sure maybe there's some like massive snake called Danta or something weird, but here we go. And then so down below that developer kit, on the left, we have Anaconda, which is going to be what Microsoft referred to as Scarlett Pro, which is going to be the successor to the Xbox One X. And then on the other side, we have Lockhart. And Lockhart is the Xbox One S spiritual successor. Now, Microsoft refers to it as Scarlett Arcade. And so it's definitely going to be a lower powered iteration of the Scarlett hardware, but it's going to still feature the same infrastructure, or architecture, I should say, to be the next generation console. The idea is to have two price points. You can imagine Anaconda is going to be quite a bit more expensive than Lockhart, but Microsoft wants to make sure that next gen gaming is available to everybody at all price points, and they're going to do that with the Lockhart console. And then of course there is the Anaconda based xCloud project, which is further out. And so this is an org chart, if you will, of all the kind of breakdowns of stuff. It's very fancy. I put many minutes into building this, but this should give you an understanding of how they are building this stuff out. Now, on top of that, there are more things. Game Core is something that Microsoft is working on, and you might just be thinking that Game Core is just kind of like, okay, right, obviously they have to package something up and make it next gen and call it something. No. Game Core, I think, is much more substantial update to the infrastructure, that how Xbox is going to run and how games on Windows are going to run for the next generation. First off, it's a much lower level than things we've seen in the past, and it's also going to make tying into Xbox services from the PC and vice versa much easier. And so Microsoft is working on this GameCore OS, and they're putting a lot of smart people on it. And I think it's going to make it easier for developers to bring games to both platforms, even easier than it is today. It's going to make it easier for developers to utilize both infrastructures that Microsoft is building on their Xbox side and on their PC side and their store side, by the way. So don't forget about the store, Microsoft Store. And so they've got all this going on. Technically, it's the evolution of UWP for gaming. And so I'm very curious to see how well this plays out, because Microsoft is making a huge investment in bringing GameCore, or making GameCore pretty damn good. And candidly, I think GameCore is one of those things that's going to help differentiate it from, let's say, Sony's ambition, because again, Microsoft can move back and forth between the PC, leverage the PC to make Xbox better and make, well, everything else better leveraging the Xbox infrastructure. And so it's going to be fascinating to watch how Microsoft utilizes all of this stuff. Now, other things that I've just uncovered, I think this stuff has already been released, but I think Microsoft's trolling me a little bit, is they have a code name called Cincinnati. And if you're not familiar, I live in Cincinnati, and it was a code name used for their sports teams based Xbox One controllers. These things. If you're not familiar with Cincinnati, where I live, the sports teams are garbage. Ohio State, the Buckeyes are pretty good, but professionally, the Bengals and the Reds, not so good. And the fact that they named their sports team controllers after Cincinnati, thank you for that, Microsoft, for just a little stab in the heart. And so there you go, guys. This has been a real quick kind of overview of what Microsoft is working on and how it's all laid out. And I hope that you enjoyed. If you do, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys around next time, and have yourselves a wonderful day.